It can be helpful for people of faith to address questions from people of many different backgrounds. The Sikh scripture itself includes a debate between the founder of the religion, Guru Nanak, and people of a different background, the Siddhs. Atheists often ask very interesting and challenging questions, and sooner or later, whether in college or through our friends, we will encounter these questions. The first video on this topic was very well received, so I think it is important to follow up on some of the ideas. One argument of atheists is that religion supplies us with temporary answers, but these answers prevent us from seeking the actual, verifiable answers that only science can supply. The Sikh tradition actually is very unique in this regard, in that it recommends against stating what we don't know. It teaches us to have awe and wonder regarding the vastness of the universe, but to not try to find its end, limit, or origin. Our scripture teaches that only the one who created the creation can know its origin. It also teaches that just as God is infinite, His creation is also vast and infinite, and do not try to seek its end. In this way, Sikh teachings do not cross the boundary into speculation and mythology. They emphasize psychology and transformation of the mind. The biggest mistake that we can make is to think that we know all the answers. And this is true whether we are people of faith or people who do not subscribe to any faith system. This humility is considered the highest religious value in Sikhism, and something that we should appreciate as the foundation of truthful living, where our faith is in harmony with an objective, scientific understanding of the universe. Humility is a value that most Sikhs and atheists would likely agree is of utmost importance. Another argument of atheists or critics of religion is that people who are religious also have tremendous egos and are often holier than thou and more egotistical than those who are less religious or have no religion. They state that religion is not necessary to become a better person and is not a good basis for deriving ethics. They may cite examples of people who subscribe to lofty religious ideals, but whose lives are examples of hypocrisy. And there is a big difference between the values taught and the life that is lived. In these opposing arguments lies a very important question. At what point does religion become a hindrance towards ethics and humanity, the very things it claims to promote, and at what point does it help us become better people? We cannot dismiss the arguments of atheists without considering this question. Based off our study of Sikh scriptures, the essence of religion is to go inwards, within one's own mind. When we do this, we look at our own faults and our own shortcomings, and seeing how we consistently fall short, we become less judgmental of others. However, when religion becomes extroverted, when we begin to judge others' faults with the measuring stick of scripture, when we begin to emphasize external displays of religiosity over authentic religious feelings of awe and wonder, and when we seek external reward for our religious deeds, then religion loses its purpose and becomes a hindrance. When religion becomes extroverted, the strongest arguments of atheism become valid. However, what argument could be posed against a religion which advocates for a transformation of the mind, like the Sikh scripture does? Or against a religion which calls for examining the role which lust, anger, and greed play in our lives? Such a religion would be tremendously beneficial for advancing ethics and humanity, and this is what the Sikh religion teaches, rising above negative inner forces and merging into the divine harmony through meditation.